Here we are. We're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another lovely session of the Baller Teacher Conference. Today, I am joined during this session with Miss Lindsay Fell. Lindsay Fell is a two-time Bryant School District. That's a big school district. A lot of teachers there. Well, Lindsay's got Teacher of the Year twice. That's pretty impressive, Lindsay. And you know what else? And I told him in the last live Q&A with remote learners, she's also an Apple Distinguished Educator. They only take, 150 of those out of North America every 2 years? Lindsay's one of them. Check that. Yep, that's right, Lindsay.
Why they let me in? That's still a big question.
Well, they let you in because you're Lindsay, Bryant, two-time all-district state Teacher of the Year, Fell. And that's right. Look at this. What did you say?
I said, don't believe the hype.
Well, Jamie Morrell says she deserves it.
Thank you.
So, yeah. And I'll tell you this, Jamie would never lie. Jamie would never lie. Okay, so today we are going to talk about video creation for teachers and students. Lindsay, do you want to tell them a little bit about the position you hold as a teacher? Because I reference high school a lot, which I shouldn't, because I'm like class periods, and as soon as I say class periods, every K through fourth grade teacher's like, he doesn't care about me. So I want you to tell them what grade levels you teach, and you guys, this is live. So my job here, I promise I will stop talking at some point, is to moderate y'all's questions. So if you have a question, if Lindsay talks about something, you don't have to wait till the end. My job is to interrupt her and ask your burning questions, okay? So ask questions. Before we get started, hit the like button. We worked on this earlier today. It's the thumbs up button underneath the video. Hit that like button. If you're new, hit the red subscribe button. Lindsay, you got this. Take it away.
Thank you. Okay, so my journey with video creation started when I was teaching first grade at Salem Elementary. I'm in the Bryant School District, of course, and this is my 14th year of teaching. I just finished, and I currently teach art, but prior to that, I taught in the regular elementary classroom for 12 years. So started out with a student-led news team, and that was also the same year that Tyler, you had that Baller Teacher Conference. I think that was the summer before I started that. Yes. And so that whole year, you and I I mostly just emailed you, like, what do you think about this? How can we make it better? And you just kept telling me that the best way to get better at video creation is to just make more videos. And it's so true. So we started that at Salem, and I did that for a year. And then the past 2 years, I've had a student-led news team at Parkway, and something really exciting is they got invited, my news team from this past year at Parkway, they were invited to present at ISTE this summer. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to go because there's a virus going around, but what a huge compliment and honor for those kiddos who work so hard all year long. But so I started.
Did you have any other sessions you were going to teach, Lindsay, at ISTE?
I did have some other sessions with this guy named Tyler Tarver. So
yeah, I was your assistant. I was the assistant. No. You were the head presenter. That's true.
That's not true. It was a collaboration, 100%.
You did most of the work. It was like 95.5. You did all of it. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I meant to, but now I feel bad.
So that's how I got started with video creation with kids, was with the news team. And then I moved into kind of infusing it into my classroom, and we've had a lot of fun. So that's what I want to talk about, is how I have used video creation to deliver content to my students, but then also how I've empowered my students to be creative communicators through video. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's go ahead.
You got a lot of people already, and we haven't even gotten past the title slide, and you've got a couple people that already want to see your classroom and collaborate with you. And so that's what Josh was talking about in his session. He was talking about just be around other people, because that's the thing, you don't know what you don't know until you see it. So I love people viewing. So go ahead.
And we need more Apple Distinguished Educators. So if anyone's interested in that, I would love to talk to you about that. I'm the only K-12 ADE in the state of Arkansas, and it's a lonely world. So
that's right. The other ones, we're all higher. We have 3 other people, me and 2 others, and we're all higher ed.
You're all higher ed. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
I would love to not be alone in the ADE status in the K-12 world. So if anyone's interested in that, January of 2021 will be the application window should open. So there's that plug in case anyone's interested. Okay, so today we're going to talk about 2 things: teaching with video, like you as the teacher leveraging video to make your learning more accessible for your students, but then also empowering your students as creative communicators with video and using that as a way to check for their understanding of the content that you're presenting to them. So first off, why teach with video? Well, first of all, kids like it. And I don't know about you guys, but my kids, most of quarantine, I've been #1 mom and they've watched a lot of YouTube. So that's just the world that they are so used to. That's the media that they're accustomed to. And I think teaching through that is really powerful. It's super engaging and it's the language they speak. And then I think also one major point to talk about is that it allows for differentiation, because if you are explaining a process or a technique, like how to solve a certain kind of math problem or how to write a certain kind of, or a certain letter or number, and it's very much a process that you explain, you can pre-record that and the kids can watch that as many times as they need to, or you can break that process down, or you can go back to the fundamental concepts that they don't understand and you can deliver that through video for those kids. So it allows for that differentiation for your students. And then also your content can be created ahead of time. So what this does is you can release these videos through your YouTube channel. I think Tyler's mentioned that a few times today, or through a Google Classroom. And then if you have your students grouped by ability level, then you can push those out and it will free up some time for you as the teacher to work with those small groups of kids that might need a little more hands-on or one-on-one help.
Lindsay, can I elaborate on something you said that was really good?
Yes.
Lindsay said, because one of the things with YouTube, whenever I talk to people about YouTube, a lot of people are hesitant because, you know, if it's unlisted, somebody can still share it. It can be viewed. They want it to be specific for their class, safety reasons, or they just don't feel comfortable. Google Classroom, you know how you can upload a photo in there? You can click on video and actually record video with your phone directly into Classroom, and what it does is it saves it into your Google Drive, which you know has unlimited storage because your education, and then that shares specifically with only your class, so they'll have to be logged in to their account to see it. And so that is a great way to just share it with your people, is directly in Google Classroom. And like Lindsay said, you can pick specific students to send a video to, so you can make a video for students that maybe have certain modifications. And you could select those 5 students and just send a video to them. And it's Google Classroom, it's all built in. Sorry, Lindsay, I thought it was really good what you said.
Thank you. That's really good what you said.
I just repeated you, riding your coattails over here.
You said it. No, you said it. I didn't say it. Okay. Number 4, it extends the learning beyond the walls of your classroom. And this has been a huge thing for me in my art room, because I only get to see my students for 40 minutes a week. So if there's something that we're working on, like weaving, for example, and I'm showing them how, you know, the process of weaving, and I've broken it down into smaller steps, and only having 40 minutes a week to work on that is really challenging for my students. So they can take that home, they can access those videos, they can practice at home. And my kids come back with tapestries that they've woven after I've only had 40 minutes with them. So without video, my kids wouldn't have been able to take it that far. But since they can access it outside of my classroom, then they can work at their own pace and take it as far as they want to. And I think that's really powerful. So it can provide modification and differentiation, but also extend the learning. So,
hey, real quick before we go, because it relates to what you're talking about, Lisa Houston asked, how do you use video with your news team? Are you going to talk about that later, or do you want to talk about it now?
We can talk about it now. So with my news team, the kids, I just like form a team. They apply at the end of the year. And what they do is they create weekly segments. like the lunch menu, weekly announcements, and then I give them creative freedom to come up with segments that they want to create. Like one student this year, she got into animation and she wanted to animate positive messages. So she got into like stop motion and got real creative with it and did like famous quotes, but made them animated through Keynote or through stop motion. So, but we just released like a weekly news segment that has all of their individual segments tied together. And then we push it out through YouTube. And then our principal puts it on Twitter and Facebook and emails it through our school email to teachers and parents and puts it in her newsletter. So once you get the video created, there's a multitude of ways to share that content. So
that's so good. While you're going to the next slide, I want to answer this question. A couple people asked it. Mary and Serena both asked it. How are we collaborating right here on this? We are in different locations. Lindsay is at her house. I'm at my house. And this slideshow is a Google slide. So we're using what's called StreamYard. I called it SteamYard earlier because I'm dumb. But it's StreamYard.com. And they allow you to stream for free to YouTube, which is a great resource for your students or your classes. If you're doing teachers, you can collaborate and y'all can all share it to both groups of students at the same time through YouTube. So it's a great resource and it's free if you just want to go to YouTube. I paid like $25 a month to get my logo and my background and no StreamYard logo. So great question, you guys.
Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Students can watch a video as many times as needed to practice a skill or process. We talked about this a little bit before, but one thing that we did this year, I collaborated with a kindergarten teacher and her students were working on path of movement for numbers, and they have iPads in kindergarten. So what we did was we made a little video that showed the path of movement for the numbers 1 through 10, and each number had a page in a pages document. And the kids could watch the little video and then also practice writing because we have the like Apple pencils for the kids to use. So fully interactive, and they can access that information independently because a lot of times that information is just housed like in our morning meeting with our kids or just during a mini lesson, during 15 minutes of our day. But if they have access to that in a video, they can watch it as many times as they need. And those kids grasp that skill so quickly, which was super cool, I think. Okay. And then we talked about providing that video and letting the kids work independently, of course, frees you up to work with kids that need extra support. So like when my kids were watching videos on how to weave, if I had some students who struggled with fine motor, then I could go spend my time helping them, where if I wasn't teaching with video, they might have just got lost in the shuffle, considering I only have 40 minutes a week with them. So
that's so good. So good. Ms. Landers asked, how many students do you teach per week?
I have 6. You're the math teacher. I have, do this real quick. I have 5 classes a day. So kindergarten's going to have 20 kids. I have a kindergarten class every day. I'm going to have, let's just say average 25 students per class.
125.
Yeah.
120. Wait, so you have 25 students? 5 times a day?
Yes.
Do they alternate by day? Yeah, you have 125 then.
Just 125 each day. So then each week, because it's a different class every day. So.
Wow. So you have 10,000. That's exactly what you have. Put your videos on YouTube. You can have 1 million students. Hey.
No, I think Parkway's enrollment was 5. That would have been an easier way to figure that out. I think it was 550 students last year. And of course, I'm an elementary art teacher, so I teach them all. I see them all in 1 week. But I just don't get to have them very much, just 40 minutes a week. So that's the struggle that I encountered and I came face to face with. And video has helped me overcome that.
That's so good. And I had a question here. I believe it was, yes. Okay, so Deidre Kane asked, can you make your videos private on YouTube? Yes, but I want to swap that and ask you, what view permissions do you give the videos that you're having students make? Are they open to the public? Are they just for you guys? How do you do it?
So that depends on what the video is. So if it's for the news team, we have special permission from those kids' parents for them to be on screen and shared. So that's usually public because we share that link with our whole community.
Okay.
But if we're just really diligent in not putting students on screen that don't have that permission. But if it's a video that a student has created for the art class, that we just want to share within our classroom, and I don't necessarily want shared outside of our school, you can list it as unlisted in your YouTube channel, and only people that have the link can access it. So that's what I do. But a lot of times I don't put all of my students' videos on YouTube if it's from the art room. We'll share through Flipgrid, or we'll share through Padlet, or we'll share through Google Classroom. We don't necessarily put all of those on YouTube.
That's good.
Because with Flipgrid and Padlet, kids can go and respond with a video, or they can go and respond with a comment. And sometimes that's a safer platform than YouTube. I love YouTube. I know that you're like a huge YouTube fan, Tyler. Sorry.
I am a big fan.
But there are options. There are a lot of options. So.
There are a lot of options based on what your district feels comfortable with and what parents and students feel comfortable with. I'll be honest though, my experience with doing communications for a school and posting photos and videos, every student wants to be on the internet because they think it makes them famous. Because everybody they watch the internet is famous and they're millionaires because of it. So they all want to be there. So every time I'm like, I'll take a picture. I was like, I was gonna post this on the Instagram account, and they're like, don't forget to tag me. And then I find out like, oh, they're on the no-fly zone, and they're like, first thing they do is they call their parents. Hey, take me off that list so they can get posted and tagged because it's gonna get them 1 million followers. Of course, the school gets everybody followers. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. You're absolutely right about them wanting to be on screen. Our little news team this year, they created a YouTube channel, and then when they got their first subscriber, which was like somebody's mom that was on the team, they made themselves a YouTube plaque. It was like a yellow piece of construction paper that said, congratulations, you have 1 subscriber. It was pretty fun.
Hey, you mentioned Flipgrid earlier, and a couple people were wanting to know. Can you summarize what Flipgrid is?
Yes, we're going to get to that. That's part of this.
Oh, great. Then I will not break the secret. I will say we had a few people asking in StreamYard. I can just click on y'all's comments and it can bring it in as a comment, and I can hide it out of there like this. So it's just a feature that's in there, and I believe it's in the free version too. So keep going. Sorry.
Okay, so if we want to talk about how to capture video, if you're curious about that, or how to edit it, there's several options. So just know that if you have an iPad, you can use Clips or iMovie. If you have a Mac, you can use iMovie or Final Cut Pro. And of course, Adobe software is universal. You can have it on Mac or Windows. It's not going to be cloud-based, I don't think. Is Premiere Pro cloud-based yet? I don't think it is. I think it's a software you still have to download, right?
Yeah, but then if you stop paying every month, then they limit your access. So you'll download the program, but then you're given access based on a cloud.
Right, but you couldn't use Premiere Pro on a Chromebook. You're going to have some data storage.
Oh no. Yeah, you're going to have something else. You're going to have like you can use an app, Apple or PC, but with Final Cut Pro and iMovie, it has to be Apple.
Yeah, but if your students are on Chromebooks, there's still options. There's a cloud-based platform for editing video called WeVideo. It's super cool. I used it before I had iPads with my students, and it worked tremendously. And they can collaborate on video editing projects too. It just costs a little bit of money. I think for 30 student licenses for a year, it might be like $100 maybe. I'm not sure, but if you have a purchase order or I don't know, I'm sure you can find a sponsor or something for your students if that's something you want to get into. And then YouTube has some editing capabilities built in too. So there are options if you're tied to just Chromebooks.
Yeah, they allow you can trim. That's always been a feature. They've kind of flirted, like I said, Google will try stuff and then they'll pull it. They had a YouTube video editor built in and then they pulled it. I think they're going to push one back out. They've started adding a lot more features. Trim ends, add music, copyright-free music. You can do filters. They're adding a lot of stuff, and I'm assuming they're going to start letting you be able to cut more stuff soon because Google wants it all.
I haven't played with YouTube editing a whole lot, but WeVideo I know will have like titles and transitions and background music and I think even supplemental footage. Like you can pull from their B-roll collection too. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
WeVideo is legit. It's a great option for Chromebook users. You'll just have to capture the video with something, like you might want to use a GoPro or if you just have one iPad, or even, I mean, kids all have phones too. I don't know if that's an option for your school, if that's off limits, but they could capture the video on their phone and then just have the WeVideo app on their phone and log in, and then they can just transfer the files that way and then go edit on their Chromebook. So
can I throw something in there that I've done with my students for classes? Whenever I do an assignment that involves video, I encourage them to use their phone, and I tell them, look, you don't have to like edit it to where it looks like a feature-length film. It's filmed like this. It's got this, this, and this. I was like, you're using Instagram stories. You're using Snapchat. You're using TikTok. Make a video in those platforms, and it can look like those platforms. It can be filmed like this. It can have chops between it. It can have filters and text over it. I was like, get as creative as you want. They're in that world. Let them run with your creativity.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. So when you're shooting video, here are some tips for ensuring that you have good quality. One thing is making sure that your audio is good. So there's several options. You can just use the audio from your phone, but when you go in and edit, you just want to make sure that the audio is the same volume, like the people talking are the same volume. Because what will happen is if you have one clip of someone talking turned down, of course they can't hear what the person's saying, and they'll turn it all the way up, and then the next person will blast, super loud if you have that clip turned up. So just making sure that your audio is consistent all the way through your video file, and then make sure you're in focus. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have a tripod, do that. Try to keep your video stable. All those good things, but really it doesn't matter. Just create video. That's what's important. Just make video the best you can. And then I didn't know if you wanted to talk about this. This was some of the tools that you said that you use, Tyler. Some more options outside of iPad or iPhone. Yeah,
I think iPad is a great tool. You can shoot with it. You can use Apple Pencil, which is, a couple people were asking earlier, it's just a pencil that you can write and get very clean stuff with. I love using, it's very peaceful using my Apple Pencil, and I take notes on my iPad. These are great. If I could pick, I'm working towards where we can hand a student an iPad with a keyboard and an Apple Pencil, and they get it at their freshman year and they keep it when they graduate. That's my goal, because I think this is a great tool to be creative and take your notes and your courses and all that with it. But yeah, phones are good. Phones are phenomenal quality. You can edit in there. They've got apps that are free that you can edit movies in. iMovie's free, and you can get that on your phone. Like, students are already on their phones. Just let them use them if they're going to be creating content. That way you don't have to ask for money for iPads or GoPros or all those other cameras. So if you got the money, go for it. But most of the students have a great camera in their pocket at all times.
And then this was your video on making iPhone videos. You don't want to watch it?
No, I don't want to watch it. That's rule number one of making videos. Never watch your own videos where people can see your face. Okay. But it's on there. It's on there.
It's on there. Is this going to be linked for them somewhere so they can access this stuff later?
We can link it. I'll make that while you're talking about this, and I'll give them a link.
Okay, so another option, if you're still like really nervous about having your face on camera, of course, having your face on camera is like the best way to connect with your students from a distance. But if you're feeling a little nervous about that, because it is uncomfortable at first, but I mean, it's still uncomfortable, but whatever. So another option is to do like a screencastify and then do a voiceover, or like explain everything, where you can watch or you can do a screen recording of an iPad where you're writing something and capture that whole process, and then insert your audio on top of that. So those are additional options if you're not ready, to get real deep into editing and you're still a little bit nervous about showing your face. So,
or a couple of,
this is something else that Tyler had too. More options on your MacBook or Chromebook and Windows for screen recording. For Mac, you can use QuickTime. For Chromebooks, you can use Screencastify, and then Windows has a screen recorder option. Okay, so part 2, we're going to move into curating content, and this can apply to curating your instructional videos that you've created for your students, or curating your students' videos for them to access and comment on and collaborate on as they make them. So here are some of my favorite platforms for doing that. So we like to use Google Drive. And if you're nervous about posting on YouTube or even SafeTube for whatever reason, if your school doesn't allow it, or if you're nervous about ads or whatever, Google Drive is great. You can just drop the video in there and then share the link through your Google Classroom to that video. And then we're going to talk about Flipgrid. We mentioned Pages workbooks and how those are fantastic on an iPad, and you can just layer in a little clips video into a page in your Pages workbook. And then, of course, YouTube and Google Classroom. And we're going to look at a Padlet coming up, because I figured Flipgrid and Padlet were maybe some of the lesser known platforms. I may be wrong, but I included examples of those because I thought maybe people would be interested in hearing about those. So here's a look at a Padlet, and Padlet has a lot of different templates that you can choose from. This is one that we used with teachers. I have several that I've used with kids, but I didn't want to show their faces on here, so I'm just going to use this one as an example. This is one that we used at Parkway, and it just housed resources for the transition to distance learning. So if I created a YouTube video, I can put it under the topic that it relates to. And this is just one of their templates where you can organize under topics, but they have several. So I highly recommend going to Padlet. I think it's free for as long as you have 3 or less Padlet boards. Like this would be one Padlet board. And if you have more than 3, then I think you have to pay. I went ahead and paid for it because I use it all the time. But you can even use this for a student blog. They have a blog template. So if you wanted to blog from your classroom, you could use Padlet for that. But it's great for organizing content and sharing with your kids, and they can also comment on this. Let's see if this will this take me there? Is it showing up for y'all? No, it's just staying on the presentation. Never mind. Well, this link, I think Tyler's going to link this presentation for you. The link is there, and you can go visit that Padlet and see how it works in action. And some of our kids, our news team kids, made little tutorials too, to help teachers learn how to use clips if they didn't know how to use clips. And so, the kids can post to this platform as well and share their learning. And it was neat to see students step up as leaders in this crazy transition to online learning that we were all thrown into.
Yep. Okay, I got the presentation if you guys want it. It is bit.ly, so it's a bit.ly, bit.ly/ballerfell. BALLERFELL. So if you guys want, access to all of this. And to answer a couple of questions that have been coming in, the videos, how you can see our faces, it's actually built into StreamYard. So I'm using my laptop camera, and I've got my audio here, and so we're just talking through that. So that's what we're using. It's all in StreamYard.
Super cool.
Yeah. It is super cool.
I don't know why I didn't think of that. I'm so sorry. My bad.
What did you say?
I should have included a bit.ly link for the presentation.
You did. It's bit.ly/ballerfell. You did it yourself. Good job.
Do that.
No, you're trying to make me look good in front of my friends. Thank you.
Okay, so up next is Flipgrid. And of course, this is just the Flipgrid you're looking at is just a housing place for tutorials that we've created to share with teachers. But you can do this with kids. I just didn't want to post a picture of one here because it has their faces all over it. But it's fantastic. It's a fantastic platform. I know several teachers in Bryant started using this during our last 9 weeks, just as a way to connect with their kids. It's super fun. And all that they would do is go click the green plus sign, and they can upload a video and then share, and then their friends can see it, and they can comment through video, or they can comment through text. They can type text, and you can set all kinds of limitations, like how long you want their video to be, and they can record straight from their computer. So great for Chromebooks, because they can just open up their forward-facing camera on their Chromebook and record straight from there. Or this Flipgrid that you're looking at here, all these videos were created in clips and then uploaded to Flipgrid. So you have the option to upload a video that's already been created where you have editing options, or you can just capture live video and then upload it that way. So options, always a good thing.
Well, people love your resources. A lot of people haven't heard about them and they really like them. Do you say you've used Loom?
I have
used. Did you say that? Okay.
Yeah. I didn't mention that in here, but I have used Loom. Loom is great for screencasting, like for capturing your screen, but then also what it does is it puts your face down in the corner. So you're capturing your screen, but they can also see your face.
Good. You knew that because I didn't know an app. Somebody was asking that earlier and I was like, there's probably an app. I just don't know. And so thank you.
You're welcome. I've only used it once or twice, so I'm not a pro at it, but it does exist and it's super cool. It allows for the best of both worlds where you can capture your screen and your students can see your face. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about sharing your video creations on social media. And I know social media can sometimes be a sensitive topic, but that's where our kids are. And I feel like we have a great opportunity to model digital citizenship and just be present and connected to our kids that way. So Instagram stories are fantastic. So I have a personal Instagram account, but then I have an Instagram account that's tied to my classroom, and we'll post stories there. And it's a great way for parents to see inside our classroom, our art classroom. But it's also a great way to look back at moments in the year and to remember things, and I don't know, just share our story through Instagram. TikTok is my new favorite thing. Is Jennifer Bradley here? I think she's in this. I think she was coming to this thing. Jennifer Bradley is like a TikTok pro. But I just got started with it and it's super fun. And I love, during our transition to online learning, that's how I connected with my kids. I just released like little, because I think the max limit is 60 seconds. So I would just release short little like advertisements of what that day's virtual art lesson was going to be. And then from there, it was linked to a much more in-depth explanation and series of videos explaining a process. So TikTok, Tyler, aren't you on TikTok too?
Yes, but I'm not active on it. Vine, I tried to make it work on Vine and it didn't. So I don't know. I didn't invest in TikTok. I just realized I try less and less to be funny. I'm just a serious guy who likes to talk about Google. I'm not fun on the internet anymore.
You are so fun on the internet. You're absolutely fun.
You. Wow. Thank you. I've been texting her. I'm like, say some nice stuff about me. That's how I just texted her. So I appreciate that.
No, it has not. No, these are all true words. But you've used Snapchat for morning announcements or something. What did you use Snapchat for?
Yeah. So when I was a principal, I used Snapchat for morning announcements because you don't really need your announcements after 24 hours. So I used to use YouTube, and I had like a little 5-minute show, and I would either by myself and I would do the announcements, or I would like have a couple of students come to office and we would all talk about, we got this coming up, and joke around. And one student was in there and we started a pretend morning show. We called it Carson and Tarver in the morning, and we would do the announcement over a cup of coffee. And so that was fun. But then I was like, it's just on YouTube, and a year from now, people don't need my announcements from a Tuesday. And so whenever Snapchat came around and that story, you could post it publicly, I did that. I never checked any messages because, it's dangerous. And so I just posted publicly to the story. It would say 24 hours and it would disappear. And now, honestly, with Instagram stories, you could just do that in there because it does the same thing. That's when I quit using Snapchat. Sorry, Snapchat was when Instagram came out with stories. I was like, I could just do this. But it's a great resource for temporary video, which is great for announcements. And I used to do the announcements publicly because, believe it or not, students don't always get your announcement papers to their parents. So I would tell the parents, like, if you want to stay on top of what's going on, here's where we're doing the announcements. Check in anytime you want. Hey, can I answer a question from a math teacher? Is that cool?
Yes.
Okay. So the question was, she needs to record a whiteboard while writing. Use Explain Everything for years. I used Explain Everything for like 2013, 2014. I promoted all the time because it's very easy to record. You could bring in photos and then you could export it to YouTube really easily. Yes, what I recommend if that sounds like what you want to use is you want to either use paper or Notability, you can just screen record your iPad or your cell phone and then use that app Loom that Lindsay was talking about, and you'll be able to do exactly what you want to do on there. So that's what I would recommend. Okay, Lindsay, back to you. Back to you with the weather, Lindsay.
Did we talk about Facebook stories? I don't know that we did, but
No, go for it.
Facebook stories is a thing too. I mean, are kids on Facebook anymore? I think it's just mostly us old people, but
that would be telling the parents what's up.
Yeah, Facebook is great for connecting with parents, but if you're wanting to connect with students, Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat for sure. And
Yep.
I think just being present on those platforms, I don't know, I think it's fantastic for your kids, and it's a great way to model positive ways to use those platforms, because I think sometimes, I don't know, they can use that positive model, that positive, I don't know, application of how to use that platform to spread kindness. So, yeah. Okay. So moving on, here are some ways that Tyler has used. Sorry, Tyler. I tried to pause it before it started.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Some like daily ways that you've implemented video, like your bell ringers. What else did you have?
Yeah. So I do. Here, go back real quick. I want to talk about this because I really think this is a resource that I think could help a lot of people, and it's free, and it's a vast resource at this point. So whenever I was teaching, we always had to do bell ringers. And so when I was making videos, I was like, I want to make something that is a resource for teachers that they can use as often as they want, and it helps them make their job easier. So my idea for teachers or administrators that want to put all the students in one class is, I think that I started out doing the YouTube math videos as bell ringers. I was like, well, that's only one subject. So I started doing a quote of the day video. I call it Rock the Quote. It's a series, and I keep all the videos like usually around 3 minutes or less. And the idea is that you either post it in your Google Classroom or you play it on the screen, and it takes over the teaching for you for a few minutes so you can take roles, send emails, catch up with people who, couldn't be in class the day before. And all I do is I read a quote, I give my thoughts on it. I don't ever get too controversial or crazy with it, and I don't think. And you tell me if I do, and I'll take it down. But I'm pretty sure it's just pretty much, I talk about the basics of the quote, and then I'm directing it as if you're handing it to your class. So I say, hey, comment in the classroom and then reply to somebody. Keep it kind. Like I talk like I would talk if I was the teacher posting it in there. And so I even have in the slide an example. You could literally copy paste the same thing every day. And then I have 180 of these Rock the Quote videos. You could just copy paste the links and have a different famous quote that people could give their thoughts on it. So that's what I got. A lot of talk on TikTok. Yeah, TikTok does roll into stuff. I think that if you're pushing it to your students, you should be careful, but like anything, it's just, you got to find what the best app for you and your people are, because TikTok does do a lot of, they push the algorithm and they do a lot of, you don't get to control it. It's just, they pull up pretty quick. So keep that in mind, but it is a great app. And honestly, the best apps, if you can incorporate them safely, the best apps are the ones that the students are already on. So that's my thoughts. So Lindsay, back to you. Back to you, Lindsay.
Thanks, Tyler. Let's see. So empowering, I wanted to talk a little bit about why it's so important to empower students as creative communicators with video. And so, of course, number one is it allows for creative expression, and that is so important. There was a study done, I don't know if you know these numbers, but there was a study done on screen time analysis with young people, I think like ages 12 to like 21, maybe. Jessica Watson knows these numbers because she was talking to me about it the other day. But I think out of all the screen time that is collected on those kids, through the screen time app on iPad, there was a research study done. I think only 7% of that time is spent creating. So the more that we can encourage them and empower them and show them how they can create instead of just consuming all the time, I think is really important. Super duper.
I think it's very important. I completely agree.
And then number two, it can be considered a modification for your ELL students or language impaired students, because what you're going to do with that video is give them an opportunity to explain their understanding or their learning, and they may not be able to write that down. They'll be more willing to take a risk with vocabulary if they have an opportunity to explain that learning orally, and then they can go ahead and do it, and then you can go back and watch it later. So they can do it in class, and you're not having to stop your instruction to listen to them explain their learning or their process to you. And then after the student, when they go to lunch or when they're in their specials class or their pull-out class, you can go back and watch that and check for that understanding. And if it's collected in a video, you have that, and you can create a sort of digital portfolio for that kid. You can go back and reference it when you're in a conference if you need to, either with parents or with administrators or specialists. And you have all of that data collected where it's viewable, and it's really powerful. So, and then also it's great for your young learners like kindergarten, first graders who are emerging writers. They may not be able to write down all of the learning that they have or that they understand, but they can tell you about it. And a great way to capture that is with video.
I concur.
And then, of course, you can use this as a formative assessment. I saw there was an Apple Distinguished Educator from Texas, maybe. She used Keynote, and she made this template, and it was a way to, and she had like placeholders for video. And maybe every 2 weeks, students would record themselves reading a book aloud that they were familiar with. It was just like a familiar read that they, recorded independently. And then they made this portfolio of their familiar readings for an entire year, which is kind of neat. You would still want to do running records, but it's a great way for them to go back and look at, what their reading looked like in August and what it looks like in May, which in first grade, it's going to be huge. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I completely agree.
And then, of course, platforms for students to share videos. We talked about these a little bit before: Flipgrid and Padlet, and of course, Google Classroom. So did you have anything you wanted to add to that? That's my last slide, by the way. I think I went over a little bit, like 15 minutes over my time limit.
No, you were perfect. If you guys want, I'm going to say a little bit, and then we'll answer a few questions if you want to throw them in there before the next session. So toss in any questions for Lindsay, and we can answer them. Anything you want. I think, honestly, I'm always a proponent of simplicity. If I'm going to pick between like, oh, this is a really cool app, but then I'm like, well, Google Classroom pretty much does the same thing, I'm probably going to go with what they're comfortable with. And also it keeps it all in one place, just because I'm in my brain, I don't like things scattered around. So if you do things in different locations, make sure when the students submit it, they're copying the link and they're putting it in Classroom, so you're not having to go out and search for everything that they're doing. So that's what I highly, highly recommend. A lot of people are big fans of producing content, not just they're producing content, not just consuming it. So that's good. Do you see any other comments you want to answer? Any questions? Oh, look, Charlotte. Look at her. She made it. Charlotte Tarver. She started using quote of the day in February. She used my quotes from African Americans Black History Month. It was pretty cool, some of the students' responses. Well, touche. Touche, Charlotte. Look at you. She's a pioneer. A lot of people don't know that. She's like the Lewis and Clark of educational technology. So, here we got a question. Dee asked, what did you say the teacher used to make the videos of the students reading?
Well, it was a combination of a couple of apps. So she was using clips for the kids to actually record themselves reading, but then they would save that clips video to their iPad and then insert it into a Keynote document that had a template created for collecting videos throughout the year.
That's good. That's great. Haley, she said she would love the list of the resources we talked about. You guys can have this whole presentation. It's just go to the link or write it down or whatever, bit.ly/ballerfell, BALLERFELL, because fell is a baller. So I love it. And I love the news team stuff. Everybody's really excited about the news team idea and the announcement stuff. I remember when back in like 2017, when you were doing that, I thought that was a great idea because students love to be on camera. This generation, like, if you want to get students excited, don't say, hey, write this 2-page essay. Say, hey, interpret this stuff from valid resources and then act it out with 2 of your classmates on Instagram story. And they're gonna lose their mind. They're gonna love it. So I think it's great. So excellent. Okay. Yes. Oh, look at this. I'm gonna end with Tessa's. Yeah, she's definitely a baller.
Oh, thank you. That's
Guys,
so nice.
Thank you so much for coming to this session. If you could, please give Lindsay some love in those comments. Say thank you. We're going to roll into the next session, which is on podcasts. And so I'm going to roll that in there. So the link will be on there here in a second. After I get out of here, I'll grab the link and toss it in there. Just make sure you hit refresh on Baller, or what is it? Tarver Academy. I forgot my website. tarveracademy.com/baller. Hit refresh here in a couple minutes after I get that link. And so you have a little bit of a break. This will be our last session, and then I'll give you the link to your evaluation. It's not like a test, but you fill it out and it'll email you a certificate, unless of course you put in the wrong email address, which happens, and I'm not kidding, 1 out of every 7 times a teacher puts in their email, they put in the wrong email. We get in a hurry, we teachers. We're so busy and we get in a hurry and we type in the wrong email. You've never typed in the wrong email, have you, Lindsay?
Never, ever.
Never, ever. Is there anything else you want to say to encourage them and say to these teachers who are now inspired by your empowerment of student creativity?
Oh, I hope you have a fantastic summer. I hope you take some time for yourself. I feel like we've all been sitting in front of a screen for the past 10 weeks. So here's to closing the computer and going outside. That's my parting words.
But should they be on their phones when they're outside, just watching their phones?
I mean, aren't they an extension of us anyway? Our phones.
Yeah. Elon Musk said we're cyborgs, and he invented the Tesla. So I don't know what to believe anymore. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. Did I make up that stat? No, it's from personal experience on the amount of teachers that mess with their email. It's a lot. Like, I didn't get the certificate, and I go in and look, and they just type their first name, or they type like bill@.com. They'll leave Gmail off. I'm just like, it happens all the time. But it happens. Okay. Thank you guys. Y'all be good. Lindsay, I really appreciate you. Thank you for investing in these teachers. If you want to reach out to Lindsay, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you if they want to connect with you?
My email address is L for Lindsay, and then fell like a fell over at bryanschools.org. Should I put that in the chat? I can put that in the chat in the live.
Toss it in the chat, but then we're about to close the chat. So you better do it fast because I'm about to close the chat. All right, guys, check out the link, hit refresh. I'll have that link up here in a couple of minutes. This is the last session for the day. You just finished 6 hours of PD. Still in the game. Good job, everybody. Awesome. Thank y'all. Y'all be good. Lindsay, you're the best. I appreciate you a lot.
The best. Hey, thanks for letting me be here today. This was super fun.
Of course. Same time tomorrow, everybody. Just kidding. No, I'm tired. I need to sleep. I'll see y'all later.